The horrors of the real estate market persist. And so do I. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the places I will retire in BG3 Act 2, which will only double the profits. Oh god, where do I start? You are insane! Why would anyone live there? At this point, if you're telling me getting a good price on a property means bunking down with a ghost, I would do it. I'm sorry, I really do not have any money to move right now. The current economic state is scarier than you. Which is great because the choices of housing here is a little underwhelming. But let's say for a moment that Faerun has some kind of Shadowland curse clause that made property prices severely underpriced. Property number 1. Ruined battlefield. Are there cursed plants? Cursed birds? Cursed spiders? Weird people? Yes. Unfortunately, yes. And also, yes. But I ask you this. Which country does not have some variation of these things? I can think of one place in particular where all of these things are concentrated and people still live there willingly. So let's not judge too harshly, alright? Yes, you will have to carry a torch wherever you go, or you can opt for the more annoying alternative. On the bright side, pun intended, there are not too many neighbors around, at least not the talkative kind. The only talking you have to do is when you them and a shadow vestige appears. It serves as entertainment. You choose to want to talk to it. You can also collect them all of your would-be neighbors, at least.
In her former life, this girl played in the nearby woods. She was always the best at climbing trees.
And look, there are plenty of places to set up. This one already comes with a chicken coop and continual flame torches. Or what about this one? The foundation of the building is somewhat still there. And look, it even has a patio. The roofing is almost entirely intact. Kind of. I would say that this is a solid B tier. Only because some of the houses do require a little work. If fixing homes is your fancy, you will love our next location. House in Deep Shadows. Now this ruined farmhouse, a real fixer-upper. I mean, the base is already there, structurally, spiritually, but the planks are still good to use. And yes, technically there's a small child spirit aberration haunting the property who keeps asking to play hide and seek, but he's actually half of a nature spirit. 50% off. So once the curse is actually lifted, boom, built-in farm spirit and the potential of a very profitable farming empire just on the horizon. Sure, I'll have to play hide and seek with the kid a couple times a week, just to keep him happy. But that's pretty much part of the lease if you think about it. You think HOA fees are better? A tier, just for my farming empire. I'm coming for you, Stardew Valley. Now we move on to Last Light Inn, one of the primest real estate we have in the whole of the Shadow Curse lands. Just look at the size of this thing. You could rent out the rooms, even have a little wedding venue here. Before the curse is lifted, Isobel can even serve as a stay-in priest. I mean, technically the whole place wouldn't be running without her. She literally cannot leave the place. You save money on the priest. But once the curse is lifted, you could restore the inn to its original purpose. The inn that held strong against the curse. Nice catch to it, no? It will have a historic and legendary reputation, which will only double the profits. Let's look through some of its amazing features. The courtyard boasts a very quaint little fountain. Perfect venue spot. You can even leave the Harper banners up. Who wouldn't want to have a harbor theme wedding? And a little to the left, we see a stable for your guests to house their horses, or maybe just milk providers. But you know, just check before you house any bovine here. Now we enter into the inn itself. As you can see, the place is very spacious, very warm and cozy, a stark contrast to the cold, harsh, dark, shadow-cursed lands. A room here will fetch a really good price, and it already comes with the furniture needed, not to mention rustic decorations. Just look at this fire pit right here. You can roast so many roughs here. Not to mention, you can sell the alcohol you found here at a premium. This pitcher of beer here, it survived the Shadowland curse. If this doesn't get you drunk, nothing will. Now, let's go upstairs to perhaps my favorite part of the inn, the rooftop bar. Just look at that stunning view. Definitely a selling point if you want to advertise your inn for any events. Though you might need to rework the flooring a bit, just a bit. Say less about the roofing and the cobwebs. But what does it matter? You have a stage with a couple of instruments already provided. Bards from all over Faerun will come to your inn just to play. And where will your guests sleep? In all of the lovely rooms available. This one has a lovely balcony attached to it. Your guests can go out for fresh air after they had a little too much to drink at your inn. Though I might install guardrails if I were you. At least the water will break their fall. I'm not too sure about how deep it is though. But we can go down and have a look, because the inn also comes with its very own dock. Just look at this space. You can park like 6 boats here, and it will attract patrons from upstream. I heard there's even a direct route from the Moonrise Tower prisons, but you didn't hear that from me. But if you need even more space, we can go down to the cellar. That's right, you can store a plethora of things: alcohol, dry goods, alcohol, and for your kinkier guests / historians, which is usually the same thing, they might enjoy a night in the cells itself. Anyway, inside one of the cells is a secret passageway straight to a Selûnite temple. Very spacious, with natural lighting, a small Melock infestation, but there's running water. And is it not a perfect spot for your wealthier clientele? Perhaps even an underground casino? The best part is there's a hidden getaway exit using these handy routes, or a perfect spot if you ever want to live close by to your best friend, like the previous tenants. Just really good friends. Anyway, after reviewing the whole of Last Light Inn and its wonderful facilities, I would have to give it an S tier. Next, we head to town. Reithwin was once a very wealthy town, as evidenced by its extensive stonework and elaborate architecture. It even has a toll house that used to collect a large sum of money from people moving through the river or the Risen Road. So with a little spit and shine, you could also rebuild the toll house, or you rebuild the toll house and you start collecting money for yourself. Yes, the flooring needs work. So does the root infestation. But isn't that like every single property in the Shadow-Cursed land at this point? And at least this one comes with plenty of desks you can repurpose. Look at all this abandoned stationery. Plus, you have multiple safes to use if you really do decide you want to reopen the toll house.
The skeletal remains of the hopeful survivor still waiting to be rescued. Their desperate refuge now their everlasting tomb.
Just perhaps not this one. Yeah, not this one. And if you follow me through the back door, you'll find this really nice little storage room. You press this button, ta-da! Your very own secret office. Perfect for when you want to hide from your employees. But wait, there's more. Down these routes, you'll find a spacious basement with running water. Doesn't it scream secret bathhouse? I would put a pool table right here and a hot tub right about there. Needless to say, I would give the toll house an A tier. the Waning Moon. Now this is the perfect place to be in if you want to open up a bar. It comes with its own distillery equipment, a couple of zombie barmen, and tons of alcohol. I've said it once and I'll say it again. People are definitely gonna pay a premium for alcohol that survived past the shadow curse. Not to mention, this place is really handicap friendly. You can roll down your barrels of alcohol and also have grandma over for a visit. Personally, I'm not that big of an alcohol drinker, so this place doesn't exactly appeal to me. And if I were to convert the bar into something else, I know it will be a nightmare getting rid of that distillery machine. So I'm giving this place a soft pass. B tier, House of Healing. Probably the biggest property in the whole town. The property itself includes a hospital, a library upstairs, a graveyard, and a very large operating theatre. I think this will be one of the rare moments I will ever say this place is too big for me. No, it's not all the blood stains, all the corpses, and all the skeleton lying about that bother me. It's how many rooms and beds this place has. I know it was a hospital, but it's going to remind me about how little friends I have, because I'll be living in this huge home by myself and have like 0 friends to invite. And what am I supposed to do with a giant operating theatre? Perform ballads? For whom to watch? Not to mention, this place is going to be so annoying to clean. So I'm gonna give this place a B tier. Right beside the house is a little graveyard, and honestly it was quite fun walking around and reading the different gravestones.
Here rots Treston Brumwilt, philanderer and wicked excuse for a husband. May the crows use this marker as a privy.
There's even tea to be found in the afterlife. Despite the creepy atmosphere, I feel this place is quite romantic. I can imagine myself just sitting here, sketching, reading a book, enjoying the peace and quiet. You can tell how much of an introvert I am, or how sick I am of humans. B tier. Now, the morgue pass all the poisonous gas and you'll find a laboratory. And this is a really good place to lock it in and get your shit done. But what's really cool is that if you pull this lever, you'll get access to this room with a very ominous pit. You can actually go down into the pit, but there's nothing much to see there. Just a couple of scrap metal and slime. And you'll probably get acid all over yourself, so yeah, pretty disappointing. But if you continue down the path through this ominous crevice, it's literally what it's called, okay guys? I'm not making this shit up. You'll reach this little secret beach with a little cabin, and it's so cute. Look at it. I can see Last Like In from my cabin. Like, when I'm too lazy to cook, I can just take a little boat down to the inn and get me some roasted loaf. Yet, it's far away enough from people, and it's small enough for minimal cleaning. But there's a small koa tau infestation. I mean, if you're brave enough, they can also be camp supplies. A tier. And now we'll move on to the Masons Guild. Remember how I said Reithwin was a very rich town, as evident by its extensive stonework? Said stonework was made here. This was where the Masons worked. As you can see, they left behind many equipment and many work in progress. I mean, it's hard to get anything done when you have a army of Sharrans trying to take over your town. That's why the genius Masons made a secret passageway, accessible only if you pass a perception check. Or you could just take the lift. Now follow me down into the Masons Guild basement. Amazing, right? Finally a place to hide from all the social interactions that I do not want to have. And look, is this not the cutest thing ever? This potential reading nook, super cozy. And this dining table, absolute peak craftsmanship. I especially like this altar here. It's where I'll be performing my most sacred rituals, late night snacking. Just for the sick underground base, I'm gonna give this place an A tier. Just below, under the statue of Catrick Tom, is the Sharran Sanctuary. can I just say that he was absolutely wow? He put a statue of himself as a proud Selûnite. Look, it's plastered all over his chest, right in the middle of the town square. But then, link a secret passageway to the arch enemy of said goddess you have plastered on your chest? Unhinged. Crazy behavior. Like a damn animal. It's like a vegan restaurant with a secret butcher shop underneath. Inside the Sharran Sanctuary, we have a couple of statues of the Lady Shar, and of course a little area for you to offer some of your blood. She is the Lady of Loss after all. And for the love of the gods, do not take the knife. You do not need the knife. You know how many people have used that knife? It's disgusting, riddled with disease. Do you really need another knife to hoard? But I guess the place could be good security if you can trick the infiltrator into attacking the statue or taking said knife. A real roundabout way to have a security system, but it's better than nothing, I guess. But a little too small and not a lot of facilities. So, B tier. We move on now to the Grand Mausoleum. The moment you enter the mausoleum, you're met with Melodia's grave and a bedroll and Catrick's diary. You're telling me that this man slept at his wife's grave. Also the phrase
E Amiel Tellere Manon here.
That means you hold my heart forever. Yes, I know he has committed heinous crimes. But to be honest, if I lost the love of my life and then our child, I would probably crash out too. Okay, maybe not raise an army of dark justiciars, kind of crash out, or shadow curse a land for 100 years, kind of crash out. The man was committed. For the record, I greatly disapprove of your actions, Catrick Tom. But at the same time, you can fight me in the comments, but I think we all secretly want a Catrick Tom in our lives. Fine. Anyway, back to topic. The mausoleum itself, shockingly spacious. Originally belonging to Catrick's Selûnite family, he kind of went full arts and craft with his ancestor bones as tribute to Merkel. This one kind of looks like a fairy wheel. You gotta give it to him. He's kind of talented. Okay, you gotta disarm a few traps and solve a puzzle, but boom, you get access to the Gauntlet of Shar, because of course a Sharran stronghold is right below a Selûnite mausoleum. Now I know where Catrick gets it from. Okay, look, if it's good enough for Catrick Tom to sleep in, it's good enough for me. Apart from the whole bone situation here. So A tier. Now we proceed on to the Gauntlet of Shar. This place is huge, gigantic, bigger than the House of Healing. Do you have any idea how many times I've got lost in this place? How many times I've teleported back to the waypoint because I couldn't figure out where the hell I was, and it's just easier to start all over again. Don't get me started on the 3 trials. It was such a pain to navigate. Oh, you want to get to the soft step trial? It's upstairs. Wait, no, that's the library. Wait, it's the room that I just left. Okay, but I'll give it to the Sharrans. They know their interior design, alright? Which is funny and ironic because their goddess is literally the Lady of Loss. So, interior designers have a big sense of loss? I don't know. Look at this aesthetic wall sculpture and this bench looking at a giant statue of Lady Shar. I can really see myself with a cup of matcha here. Thankfully, there's a kitchen here already with tons of mushrooms around. There's even a mushroom garden where you can have all the mushrooms you want. And if I ever need something more substantial, I'll just fry up the cloaker. I already iced it. Fun fact, stingrays are a delicacy in Singapore. This thing will last me for days. Look, I can even take over Balthazar's room. He's got a really nice setup here, which is really surprising. Just one question, my guy. Is your back okay from sleeping on a slab of stone? Because my back wouldn't be. And I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but if I had your complexion, I wouldn't put a giant mirror beside my bed. Do you think he has a whole makeup routine? Painting blood on his face, like some blood eyeliner, blood lipstick. As for alternative rooms, oh god, where do I start? Maybe the bed. The bed. Yeah, let's start with the bed. Cause I hate that most corpses I try using speak with the dead to are too damaged. But this corpse bed right here has a lot to say. Nightmare fuel. Your girl is a little freak for wanting to sleep sit on people's faces. I can't imagine that thing is too comfortable, alright? What's that poking my butt? Oh, it's just a nose. And the decor, who uses intestines as potpourri? Can you imagine being housemates with him? I wake up, I walk out, sleepy, tea in hand, and I get jump scared by one of his new sculptures. And since I'm the only one who can leave the gauntlet, guess who will be stuck with running all the errands? And don't get me started on his cat. His jealous, magical displacer beast cat. No, I do not approve of drugging animals with aphrodisiac. And if all that isn't enough to deter you from staying in the Gauntlet of Shar, the rats. The rats. Let me tell you something about the rats. I have fireballed so many rat holes, and they still scurry about, as if they're mocking me. They're not even a cute type like Remy from Ratatouille. They are rude and obnoxious. Latendo, when I catch you. When I catch you. So the Gauntlet of Shar is too big, too messy, but beautiful architecture. So with that, a B tier. Up next is Moonrise Tower. Look at the sheer size of this place. I particularly enjoy the throne room. All I'm saying is that if I do live here, playing pretend immortal would be a very common occurrence. And I like how the kitchen is such a short distance away. It's like they know me so well that I would be absolutely famished after playing Crazed Tyrant. It's a pretty simple kitchen. Definitely not somewhere where you can make a royal feast. But hey, not every property has a kitchen, so let's be grateful for it. Let's address the elephant in the room. How do people eat? And look at that. Why has nobody cleaned it up yet? Does it not smell? Because it really looks like it does smell quite a bit. And I've seen too many animes to know where this is going. So maybe clean it up? Well, the Absolute are still occupying the tower. I'm thinking the rafters, because no one comes up here. I get a panoramic view of the cultists, and when everyone's sleeping, I descend and I sneak into the dormitory to get what I need. Soap, deodorant, skincare. Alternatively, I could live in the prisons. Hold up. I know what you're thinking. Why would anyone want to live in a prison? But hear me out. There's a tower section in the prison. And it's not too bad because it's where all the wardens stay. And it comes with 2 stories and plenty of storage space. So why not? Unfortunately, right outside is a mess that Balthazar has left behind. Classic. The cells themselves though, one of them leads to a Oubliette, which sounds cool and mysterious, till you see what's down there. It's disgusting. Your feet will never be dry. Constant blood puddles. Alright, okay, I'm over it. Let's cleanse our eyes and go back upstairs. Living up in the rafters will probably give me stealth and access to the upper floors. So let's check out the rooms I could realistically inhabit. Let's start from the worst and work our way up. First off, we have Balthazar Smelfazard's room. Do you remember when I praised his gauntlets setup? Well, it turns out that his home life is a wreck. I mean a wreck. I have never seen a messier room. Never. Do you think he and Yogia just read the same magazines? Interior design by Silence of the Lambs. On the bright side, he has a secret study. A great little hideout for me to read in peace. Next, we have Isobel's room, which has a freaking mimic in it. What were you thinking, girl? Do you think she was so sick of her dad looking through her stuff? She just like, oh, you know what? I'm just gonna leave a mimic here, and if he goes through my stuff one more time, it will teach him a lesson. It didn't teach him a lesson, it taught me a lesson because I failed the perception check. Thanks, Isobel. That being said, the room is quite lovely. Queen size bed, fireplace. Best of all, direct access to the rafters. A quick getaway if I ever need it. Or snack runs. And finally, we have the God of Death himself. If I didn't need to stay in the rafters, I would be staying in his room, alright? Spacious, bookshelves, cozy fireplace, it has a wall table. You know that it's his room because there's a little area dedicated to arts and craft for Morgue. I can turn this place into a reading corner. Just add some beanbags, some fairy lights, and now perhaps it's time for me to bring you up to the rooftop. There you will see breathtaking views of nothing. It's too foggy because of the curse. But once the curse is over, I can see this as the best rooftop view in the whole Shadow Curse land. Maybe even open a restaurant there, or even have historic guided cult tours. Did I mention that this place comes with its own dock? You can offer free shuttle boat services for the tourist. Passive income, anyone? Anyway, I give Moonrise Tower an A tier. You are insane! Why would anyone live there? While we're at the rooftop, I think now is a good time to show you the one thing you can admire despite the heavy fog. The slimy little hole that leads to the Mind Flayer colony. What can I say about the Mind Flayer colony? How about it's quite gross? The floors look unbelievably squishy, and not in a good way. And have you seen the dorms? Unless I have a giant tadpole squirming about my brain, you will not catch me sleeping dead in any of those rooms. Absolutely not. Just look at all the entrails strewn about. I didn't know Mind Flayers had such terrible sense of sanitation. Although the longer I stay here, the more I think it was an intentional decor choice. But surely not. I mean, who would actually decorate their homes with entrails? I don't know. This is the one place I cannot bring myself to live in. I will give it a Z tier. But I'm gonna generously, and I mean it when I say generously, very generously give it an F tier. And finally, we have arrived at our last location, the Shadowfell, the domain of Lady Shar herself. I do appreciate that gravity is weaker here. It makes getting around easier. Honestly, the place isn't too bad. For one, very few people have access to the Shadowfell, which is great for an introvert like me. Not so great for groceries. And then there's the issue of housemates, specifically Aylin. Sure, having a roommate like her sounds cool, but imagine the whining, the pining, the tragic monologues about her girlfriend. Yes, Aylin, I get it. You miss your girlfriend. And I miss when affordable housing was a non-fictional concept. I'm gonna give it an A tier. Which location would you retire in Act 2? Life is really about perspective. You can find beauty even in the most shadow accursed of places. Except for entrails. I draw the line at using kidneys as curtain weights. With that... You heard that? You heard that? With that, taters.